we are doing with this Tawisha Kilimo, we are doing different ways of farming. So we have 4 types of farming. We have double digging, super digging, raised bed, and then we have normal way of farming. We don't tell people what to be done. But when you visit our farm, we share what we are doing, and then you decide the best way of doing it. So with this different of farming, what we are learning here in this village, we have this vegetable, local vegetable, that people are not planting anymore. But when you go to the market, they're very expensive. For example, managu. These are local vegetable. Very expensive in the market, but very easy to grow. Our grandfather used to plant all this kind of vegetable. But after we were introduced to a certain kind of crop from western part, then we adopt that system. For example, maize. We were not planting maize before. We were planting cassava. We were planting sorghum. We were planting millet. When you walk around this village, everyone is planting maize. It's not a bad thing. But we forget about our nutrition care of our body. Because if you have ugali alone, you need also to have yams. You need also to exchange the meals. When doing some research in this village, everyone wants to better their agriculture. But now the question of doing it, they don't know how to do it. That's why Tawisha is there to offer some knowledge. What we are learning right now is to see how we can empower the community to go back to those endangered species that are no longer there. And we need to bring them back. So we need to go back to the way our grandfather used to do farming. But we need also to embrace technology. But we need to have that balance. The way Tawisha is bringing up, we believe on learning. We believe on study, action, reflection. Because what we are doing, we are not doing it blindly. We are learning from what we are doing. But we are doing it practically, and we compare, and we reflect if whatever we are doing is the right thing. If we want to see progress, we need to see youth as a resourceful asset in our society. What we are doing is this Tawisha, is these young people who are doing all this research and implementing it practically. And that's why we said we believe on study, action, and reflecting. When thinking about youth, sometimes when you interact with different organizations and agencies, people feel the best way to solve the problem of young people is to give them money. The some feel is to do away with them. But practically, the problem of young people is not money. The problem of young people is to help them develop their spiritual qualities, to think about others. And now we have our framework. Whatever we do, we work within the framework. If we are thinking about to better our world, you cannot better a world without studying, acting, and coming to reflect. What we are seeing happening, young people are being helped in different villages. We have seen some young people helping the children to develop moral value. We are seeing a lot of transformation. Now, young people think about their life and they ask themselves, what can we do? And they find ways.
The few years that I have of breath, I want to offer service to the community. It is service driven by passion and study. I want to do it with a sense of urgency. And I don't want to do it alone. I also want to pass this service as an inheritance to my children and to my grandchildren. That you can inherit a service to the community. And service is sweet. Service is powerful. My community is a settler community. Many people from different communities have come together, basically for farming. From 1990, we started experiencing lower rainfall patterns and diseases that never used to be there. And then when we started asking ourselves questions, what is happening? Then the answer was climate change. Then even telling the community about climate change, they looked at it as something which was very far, and yet it was very near to us. And that is now where the desire to go more into the environment and find out what is it that we did wrong and what small things can we do to reverse the trend, because already the impact on the community is hard, very hard. The government came up with interventions. One of the interventions was to tell the community to plant trees. And they brought thousands and hundreds of thousands of seeds of eucalyptus. And that's where we went wrong. We have continuously planted trees which are accelerating the impacts of climate change. When you fly by air, definitely you will think that the place is populated by trees. But the trees we have not solved our climate change problem. What they have caused is a green desert. The researchers say that a eucalyptus tree consumes 200 liters of water per day. Now, if one tree can take 200 liters of water per one day, and yet it does not replenish that water back into the soil, we are continually suffering a water deficit. And now, because eucalyptus trees are quick money, sweet money that you can get after 2 years or 3 years, people don't want to give away planting of eucalyptus trees. So our region is a green desert. We have come with 3 interventions. One is to make sure every homestead is planting fruit trees. Protect the environment, make sure you have food. The same tree should give you food, and the same tree should give you money. The 3 aspects that we learned: environment, food, livelihood. Number 2, our women are learning issues of briquettes, making briquettes. They are making briquettes from charcoal. They are making briquettes from farm waste. They are already trying to reduce the cutting of trees and using of firewood. The 3rd intervention is what we are doing in terms of food insecurity. Diversified, high efficiency plots. Impact is big. I'll give an example. A 5 feet by 20 feet plot, we used to plant maybe 30 to 40 seedlings, but after coming to Stawisha, Kilimo, we learned that we can plant 110 seedlings from the same place. So Where we were getting $0.50, we are getting $1.50 to $2. So that is the transformation Stawisha Kilimo is helping us to move away from food insecurity to food security. Not only to food security, to sustaining our livelihoods. The dream of the community is to secure their water catchment area. We have what we call natural springs where we have water from underground. We had in this region 480 something in this location. Now they are less than 200. The way we wanted to go initially, we went the government way. We came together in the meetings and we said we want to cut all the eucalyptus trees along the streams. And those ones that are refusing to remove, we cut them by force so that we conserve our water. But when we came here and we went through the study on environmental issues, we changed. We said, no, justice must be done. We will talk to each other, and we gave ourselves 2 years to talk to each other. So as we were discussing, we came up with the better ways to do. Because along the streams, we have sand harvesters who are harvesting and they are getting their livelihood. And when we had a discussion with them, they also told us that nowadays they are not having as much sand as they used to have because the rains are shorter and the floods are higher. The river is becoming even deeper and is carrying a lot of soil away. So we have come up with the Kona River catchment program. We want to start planting the trees in 2027. But now we are planning together. We are talking to each other that when we remove these trees, what shall we put? We are saying, okay, they have already selected the 5 types of trees that they are going to plant along the streams. 5 local indigenous species. So what we are doing within this year and next year, we are talking to each other about how are we going to transit from this activity to the next activity. We have a direction on what we want to do as a conservation project along the stream. It's an intergenerational project. It's going to go beyond me. It's beyond our life. It's what we have decided as a community that we are going to plant the lifespan of this tree. And we said, okay, the generational handover is a lifespan of 25 years. Even those ones who are planting trees in their homestead, that plant tree will not be touched for 25 years. Whatever tree that we are planting will not be touched. That is a solemn agreement we have done within our community. Knowing that we are planting this tree, and next year we are planting another tree, and next year we are planting another tree. We know it's a continuous process that we have agreed on. We have also agreed that for that project to take place, the whole family must be involved as a household. It's not an individual project, it's a household project. The 245 families are involved. You are talking about almost 2,000 people. My children are involved and my grandchildren are involved. It's an intergenerational project. My message is empower the community to serve itself. Empower them to be of service to themselves. Aid, donations have not helped our communities. They have made them even more poor. Help them how to grow food better using their traditional methods. They will do better. They will contribute to humanity. They will contribute to the environment. In this region, we have had 40 years of government projects. Food production has not increased. So help the community to do our initiative, implement our initiative better. That is my message. Help us to be of service to each other and to the bigger, wider community.
Behind me is the local Baha'i house of worship, which is not just a place where people come together for prayer and fellowship, but it's actually meant to be a service to the community, a place where knowledge can be generated, where all are welcome to share under one roof in their aspirations and hopes for the community, to learn about its own development, its own needs, whether in the field of education, agriculture, healthcare, or any other. And they consult on the circumstances they face and try to devise solutions to those challenges. When I came to Kenya, I was seeking to understand a different form of prosperity. I was trying to learn about what development looks like for this community, what challenges they're facing, how they're overcoming these challenges, what old assumptions they're trying to rid themselves of and new assumptions they're trying to learn about, and just open my own eyes and my own mind, because I suspect that the conversation around development in the international arena is quite detached from the experience of the rural farmer in Western Kenya or in other parts of the world. A lot of what seems to take place in terms of development, especially agricultural development, is that solutions are given and that the citizenry is expected to adopt those solutions and implement. And though those solutions are well-meaning, there seems to be a lack of inquiry that should accompany. One example that comes up frequently is this idea of how the tree that was chosen to reforest this land is not an indigenous tree, it's eucalyptus. As it turns out, eucalyptus absorbs more water than the environment can sustain, thus reducing crop yields and inhibiting livelihoods. So with every good intention, these efforts were not bearing the kind of fruits that were hoped for. When I first arrived here, I was introduced to a gentleman named Albert Lehanda. Now, Albert generates a lot of activity with youth, with children, with community actors, and immediately he said, "You need to speak with Andrew Ogaba." And so through Andrew's engagement with Albert and the Baha'i community here, they began to adopt a learning posture, one where they would try to assess the community needs, assess the resources available to them, determine what practices may be available that could help a community to overcome some of its challenges. And this process of study and action and reflection in a cyclical form has allowed the community to find its own solutions. When I've been speaking with Andrew about his approach to change in the community and what he's learned through the classes he's taken here, one of the phrases that he has said repeatedly is that the problem is not the tree. It is not the eucalyptus tree. The problem is our culture around it. We need to be questioning the inherited assumptions of our ancestors. And so if we look, for example, at the stream that's on his property, there is less and less water flowing, which means that there is less water to be used for irrigating your farm. As this is taking place, one could just look and say, oh, the problem is the eucalyptus tree. But if you stop the analysis there, then the solution you come to is remove the trees. But the trees themselves are producing economic well-being for the community as well. They're providing timber that can be sold at market or to be used as fuel. They are very quick growing, so they can be replenished and thereby allow for more livelihoods to exist around that stream. And then once you start to ask those questions, you realize that a short-term solution is not possible. You need to build in the knowledge of the community. You need people willing essentially to change their patterns of thinking and behavior that have been developed over decades in order to devise a solution that all can benefit from. And to do this actually takes a degree of sacrifice. But that sacrifice can also provide hope and joy and meaning. And so again, it's not always about the economic bottom line. But if done intentionally and thoughtfully, a whole community can actually flourish over the course of decades. When we discuss development, for better or worse, a very deep change is required. It isn't just a new policy or program, a new concept note, or a different summit that will generate the kinds of solutions we need. It's a question of a new set of first principles. The first thing is we believe that the human being is noble, that it is dignified, and that it seeks to better community relations, friendships, families. And this approach to human nature that is not driven by hedonism, but by generosity and love, is actually the foundation for all of the efforts that take place. The second is this idea of justice, that solutions that we come to have to always take into consideration the needs of all. And the last notion is that of the independent investigation of truth. The adoption of new practices cannot be imposed from outside if it's to be truly owned by a community. It's an ongoing learning and iterative approach. When I arrived here, I had a conversation with a gentleman named Albert Lehanda, who was engaging in a community radio project, which is trying to deliver a different type of news to the community. What is often taught to media practitioners and journalists is that bad news is a way to generate clicks and ultimately to generate income. And yet Albert was really questioning this assumption. Is this what a community needs? So he, along with others, had this vision to create a new source of media, one that shares some of the positive efforts that are taking place in a community, that offers advice and suggestions that are relevant to the community. For example, good agricultural practices or crop diversification. So the goal of this media organization, Radio Ustawi, is actually community well-being. And it's important to note that it's youth leading the effort. And yet, these individuals who are not generating income through this radio need a way to get food on the table, to travel to where the news is happening. So they needed to find a way to generate some income. And here, one of the ways to do so is through agriculture. So through the generosity of some individuals, they were given a plot of land. They began to learn about different farming techniques that could have higher crop yields, and they actually were producing more food than they needed to eat. So what do they do with the excess agricultural output that they are yielding? Well, one thing is they bring that excess to market, and they use the proceeds from sales to help support themselves. Another is that they actually give a bag of vegetables to any bereaved family in the community when there's a death. And it's being noticed by community leaders, by elders, by government officials who are seeing that this is a different way that both youth can engage, that the media can serve for the well-being of a community, and that a community can find a way to support itself through its own innovation and passion. The most important thing that I've learned here is actually about learning. If we read the development paradigm of the international community with every good intention, we still see that there's an assumption that learning is about one community giving knowledge to another, and that next community utilizes the knowledge it's been given. And this does yield some benefit. But here what I've seen is that learning is an iterative process. It is constantly ongoing. You never know anything for sure. And every 3 months, every time you reflect on what's been taking place, you may understand a new dimension of reality. If you look at the history, particularly of this region of the world, which still bears the marks of colonialism, you can see that the adoption of so-called best practices from outside has left a real profound and not always positive mark on society. Moreover, we've heard the impacts of climate change in the region. We know that the rains are shifting. There's more heavy rain for more months of the year now, which has an impact on your agricultural practices. One cannot just adopt what came years ago. You can barely adopt what came months ago. You have to constantly be learning. In areas where I've seen some of the most growth through these community-based initiatives have been because the approach that they take to well-being is based on this idea of learning. In my work at the United Nations and with civil society, I see thousands of people who are well-meaning and whose aspirations are the well-being of the entirety of the human family. And yet, I think sometimes the first principles that we use to approach the problems that the world is facing are based on assumptions that are ill-suited to the needs of the day. And I think the most fundamental assumption that we need to challenge is that humanity is made up of thousands of distinct tribes, and that these tribes do not have a shared interest. We have drawn these lines of us versus them. If we do not start with the unity of the human family, it's really difficult to devise solutions that can be truly sustained for generations to come. The first thing is to always ask in our advocacy whether what we're asking for is actually serving the entirety of humanity. What I'm seeing here is a process whereby the entire community is seeing itself as one team. Factions that may have been distinct religious groups or ethnic groups are recognizing that they all are suffering under the same challenges, and that the solutions they devise have to be reflective of the needs of everyone. That inclusive process of inquiry, of assuming the best in others, of looking through the lens of justice, this process can actually be applied everywhere. It can be applied in the consultation spaces in New York, in the justice field at The Hague, at the climate conferences and biodiversity conferences that occur regularly. That all of these spaces can be characterized by a different set of assumptions. And if those are able to be drawn out, then perhaps the solutions that we devise would themselves be quite different.
My message to the United Nations is to invest on youth. We don't see the young people as problem, but we see them as solution.
One message to the United Nations is that as Africans, we appreciate their efforts that they are making, and what we are requesting is that they should work hard to provide education, especially about the climate change in households and individuals.
And it is only that education that can help us to acquire capabilities that will enable us now to contribute to constructive change in the world.
They should act quickly, finding more ways to mitigating this climate change. We have got no luxury of time. The situation is devastating in Africa right now.
To help us find ways to deal with our challenges, because how are we going to work on our soils? How are we going to predict weather?
Evidence shows that we are running out of time, and it's at this moment that the United Nations help us build trust amongst the different actors within our community, and that we begin trusting in our institutions.
Help the community to conserve the environment, that the environment may serve them now and into the future.
This question of changing the way we eat, it's a big discussion in different families. The challenge that we are having right now in our communities, we are taking long to adopt the new way of doing things, because people believe in maize. So people believe the only meal that can eat and feel they are comfortable is ugali. That's why when you visit different homes, at lunchtime you'll find either ugali or a porridge. So we don't believe maybe if you take cassava, it has the same mineral that you can get in the maize. In fact, cassava is more rich. We have yams, we have sweet potato. If you go to a home and they prepare sweet potato with, let's say, fish, people may think you are running mad, because it's like wasting vegetable. And practically, the way we eat right now is more expensive, but people think it's cheap. If you want to convert the amount that you're spending on the buying maize and you go and buy sweet potato, then for 100 shillings, maybe you can have it twice. But if you plant the same sweet potato, then you have a lot of food to your family.
When it comes to dealing with misinformation, particularly around the topic of climate change, sometimes it's difficult to discern between objective truths and stories and narratives that are being projected by particular individuals or groups for their own selfish interest.
We say that in this seeking the truth, some of the community members just bring people together, then they share some of the ideas, they can have some investigation and they get some truth. Then after that, they can also find a way to solve some solution and develop their community well-being.
If you learn to initiate conversation and of course think of alternatives, it is a better way than just condemning people. And that principle really governs our work. So I think we are really working as a community to ensure that we are really looking for long-term solutions. And this one calls for the effort of everyone. And I'm quite sure if such things are implemented, we'll move together as a community.
What are some of the changes that have happened, maybe say in the last 10 years, when it comes to climate patterns?
Before it was clear, when are we going to have rain for planting season? And when are we not going to have rain for harvesting season? But right now, what we are seeing, it is difficult to predict, because sometimes you may plant your crops and the rain goes. Or sometimes you may plant and then you get the good yield. It's difficult to say, because before it was, if you don't have manure, if you don't prepare your land, you will not get good yield. But right now, people have everything sometimes. But due to the pattern of rain, then you find yourself, things are not working. That's why the government is advising most of the farmers to plant short-term crops.
It's not like traditionally where we would farm maybe once or twice a year, then would let the soil settle and then we replant again. But now with the short-term crops, it's just that households are just farming to feed themselves. But in the past, you would farm once a year and then we had surplus. But now there is not much that is, to sell or to share. Many people are just, diversifying for survival.
We all understand the implications of the climate change crisis in both our personal lives and as a community. So what sets of values, what can inspire us to work together?
When we realize that the differences that we may have, especially when we are talking about the drivers of climate change versus the impact and the population which are most vulnerable and affected, sometimes make the conversation to take an angle of us versus them and try to come up with approaches of forced rather than thinking of how do we share the benefits that is derived from the common resources that we have in the world. So an understanding that we are one. Another thing that comes to my mind is also an understanding on how the culture of consumerism has also driven us to where we are, and how as an individuals we have to be conscious to live with moderation, and that we have to understand that the incessant accumulation of material means and material wealth does not necessarily continue to increase even happiness amongst us as people, but rather it just deepens injustice within the population.